Hello, friends. Welcome to Dream to Done, the podcast for moms who are ready to discover their dreams and goals again and actually do them. If you've been feeling a little lost in motherhood, I'm here to get you off the back burner and start taking a turn for yourself. I'm your host, Jessica Erickson, a certified life coach and your accountability cheerleader. Each week, you'll hear tips and tricks on doing life with a few kids, interviews with inspiring guests, and real talk on momming. I want you to discover your dreams, even in the messy middle of motherhood, because you deserve happiness too. You will also see that a mom achieving her goals and dreams lifts those around her. You deserve to take a turn in your life without feeling guilty. I am always cheering for you. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Dream to Done with my very first guest, Kelli France. I am so excited to introduce her to you, and then I will let her introduce herself a little bit too. Kelli is one of those people from my very first vision board that was like an idol turned friend. So I thought it would just be the coolest thing to even meet her. And let me tell you a little bit why. So my business coach is friends with her, and they have worked together and followed each other for a long time. So I started seeing some of Kelli's posts in my feed, and I was like, who is this lady? She was always like posting these really, really fun videos of her on a beach dancing and like jumping into pools and doing all this fun, crazy stuff. But then she also would show these posts of her like crying and being super real and being like, I had a hard day today and it really sucked. And so it's like, oh my gosh, she's so cool and she's so real. And it would be really cool to meet her. So when we went to this retreat, probably really creeper of me, but I was like, hey, Kelli, you haven't met me yet, but I'm going to be your new best friend.
I loved that you did that.
And she was like, oh gosh. And so like it kind of became a joke that like every time we were posing for a picture, it was like, oh, I'm going to be my Kelli, my new best friend. We have all these funny pictures of like us in Texas. And was it Waco? It was Waco,
Yeah.
Texas?
Yeah.
At like the Magnolia thing. Everyone, you're going to find me next to Kelli.
Yeah. I loved it. It was
So
fun.
I was like, this is going to happen. And then by the end of the retreat, she was like, no, I actually do kind of like you.
I'm like, no, we are friends. Like, it's already done.
I
Game
even
over.
drove her to the airport at the end. So like she
Yeah.
trusted me enough to drive her to the air. Okay, a couple of things that you've got to know about Kelli. She is amazing at coming up with like catchphrases and titles and like words that all rhyme, or like she is the go-to person for me if I'm like, oh, what should I title this course? I'm going to call Kelli.
Word
She's
nerd
really
over
good
here.
at that. And she also built a business. She went from food stamps to six figures and really seven figures and took care of her family in a financial capacity. So, hi, Kelli. Welcome. Would you like to add to that at all?
Thank you so much for having me. So I live here in Southern California. I'm a mom of 4 hilarious kids, and 3 out of 4 of them are out of the house, which feels so weird.
Oh my gosh.
I love tacos. I love dancing like a crazy person, just like Jessica. Girl, Jessica is got some moves, all right? Y'all need to see those sometime. And I have written a book.
Yes.
One of the crazy things I've done is written a book. I wrote One Goal for 100 Days. I also have a podcast called Finally Fearless. And I'm a coach. Just doing all the things.
Doing it all. Okay. Well, thanks for being here. Okay. I have to tell you the story. I've been waiting to share it with you.
I can't wait.
I was like, Kelli, I have a story for you. Okay.
Hey.
So I should have been a little tipped off because my sister-in-law, Kayla, whenever we get together, she goes to the quote, fancy nail place, right?
Okay.
And every time we get together at these family events, I am like always, I'm so annoyingly drawn to her nails. So every time I see her, I grab her hand and I'm like, what'd you do last time? What'd you do last time? And I was like, oh. And then I was like, well, why don't I just go with her? And in my head, I was like, oh, you can't go there. You can't go to the fancy place because it's too expensive. And I was like, oh, and this would get really sad. And I would go back to like my nail place, which was fine, but it wasn't the fancy nail place.
Right.
So, anyway, I finally decided I'm going to like ask her if I can go with her. And like I had gone once before to get a pedicure. And like when I say the fancy place, they like wrap your legs in legit like cucumber strips for
Oh,
your
wow.
it's like
Okay.
super nice. And I was like,
Okay.
oh, this is luxurious.
Yeah.
So it was super fun. But I was like, wow, yeah, that was expensive for the like 4 out of 4 package, right? Like the
Yeah.
highest one. Yeah, was definitely more expensive than the basic one that I'd been getting at my other place.
Right.
So in my head, I thought it was going to be so expensive to go get my fingers done.
Yeah.
And I just was like, oh, you can't do that. It's too expensive. So finally I
Mhm.
was like, this is ridiculous. Let's go look up how much it actually is. And it was like $5 more to go get my nails done at the fancy place. So I was like, it's ridiculous. I've been like picking up this huge thing in my head that I can't
Oh
afford it
my
and I can't
word.
go there. And so anyway, I went with my sister-in-law. We had a great bonding experience and we had so much fun and it was great. And I had my nails done fancy. And the kicker for me was the next morning. I went to my closet and I was like, oh, what am I going to wear today? And my automatic thought was, well, your nails are done fancy, so you better wear something cute.
Mm.
Oh, where'd that come from? And then I went to do my hair and it was like, well, your nails are done fancy. So you should probably actually take a minute and do your hair and look cute. And I was like, oh, I have a ton of preconceived notions about what people with fancy nails have. Like, so they have a lot of money. They wear cute clothes. They have their hair done. They have tons of friends. They go out to lunch all the time. Like, I have all of these crazy thoughts about people with their nails done. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, I am never going back. Like,
Worth the $5 upgrade.
oh my gosh, $5 more. And like my brain was just like, you are amazing. And I reached out to friends and I was like, hey, let's go to lunch because I have fancy nails. And so people with fancy nails go to lunch with their
They
friends.
need to be seen by the world.
So anyway, it just was like that one domino piece that was apparently missing in my life. And once that got kicked over, my brain just went crazy. Like I am now happier and cooler and like go eat salads for lunch with my friends. So anyway,
That is amazing. I love that story so much.
it was so funny.
And your
So
skin is silky soft because it's wrapped in cucumbers? I mean,
okay.
that's
What do you
amazing.
think though? What do you think about that? Like
I love that
do you
because
have
it's just funny the power of our thoughts and like what we think we're worthy of. Sometimes our brain's like, no, 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 no. Like, that's not you, or like, you're not, I don't know what your brain was thinking. But sometimes it's like, well, I'm not worthy of that, or that's for like other people, right? And then the power, then your thought changed, and then your whole life and outfit and day changed.
So anyway, it was a cool experience. The reason that I brought it up with Kelly is because Kelly has been selling nail strips
Yeah.
and
I
she's
love me
also
some
been
nails.
coaching.
Love me some fun nails. It's a vibe. It makes you feel more put together.
Does.
It does. And I think that any sort of habit, any sort of thing like that can create a ripple effect, like you're saying. Like there are a lot of habits where if you start, I mean, even like, let's say you start cooking more dinners, then it's like has a ripple effect because now your family's eating dinner at home together around the table. They're connecting more. And then now you're probably eating healthier because you're not like eating out as much or whatever. Like it's one of those ripple, your nails. Who knew that a simple thing like doing your nails could have that ripple effect on like so many other things?
Absolutely. So Kelly, if you were going to give some advice to a young mom, somebody who is just starting out as a mom, what's like 1 or 2 pieces of advice that you would give them?
Well, I would say, like I said, 3 out of 4 of my kids are gone. I'm a little bit sad. I'm like have an emptier nest. And my son just graduated high school. I just dropped him off at summer school in college. And I was making a video of him going through all these pictures, like all these old pictures and videos of him and I. And as I was looking through, I was like, wow, there's so many things that at the time felt so intense and so like dramatic, right? Because that's the power of our thoughts. Our thoughts our thoughts affect our emotions, which then affect our actions, right? And so I remember during some of these moments where I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how we're going to get through this. Like, this feels really hard. Like this is too much, and then like looking back in retrospect, I'm like, things just kind of work out, and to not get caught up in the thick of thin things. My
Mm.
grandma used to have a little plaque in her kitchen that said, don't get caught up in the thick of thin things, because I mean, choose your battles. Like, there's so many things that are not as big of a deal as like we make them or our brains make them. And if we can learn to just be a little more lighthearted, like, and not so quite so dramatic, and just know that like it's gonna work out. It's like everything always works out. Like, if you look back on your life, most everything has always worked out for the better. And of course, during the time when it's really hard, it's like we're like questioning, like, I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna work out. But it was just kind of cool to take a minute and pause and be like, wow, everything really does kind of work itself out. And sometimes it just takes time and patience.
Okay, another question for you. You have run a business while being a mom.
Hmm.
And give me some pros and cons to being business and mom.
Well, I gotta say, for me, it was like sanity to have something for myself that made me feel fulfilled while I was raising 4 big personality children. They all have a lot of personality, which is so great, and they make for the best teenagers and young adults. Like, you're basically, I was raising my best friends, and they are so much fun. But sometimes when you're in the thick of it, when they're younger, you're like, I love you, but I don't like you. So it was kind of nice to have something as a distraction that felt like, this is just for Kelly. This is not the mom version. This is not the wife version. This is just for me. And so I've it was a good hobby for me. Like, some moms, love to cook, love to sew, or craft or whatever. For me, it was, I like to create businesses. And so that was really fulfilling, and it gave me that outlet, because I think as moms, it's so important that we fill our own cup, because if you cannot pour from an empty cup, like if your cup is on empty, if your gas tank is on empty, you're not going to get very far.
And like pro tips for everybody that, does get fulfilled by their children and you don't need that, that's totally fine. But I know that I needed that too. I needed something that was like
Hmm.
not in the mom zone, that was just like out of mom
Right.
zone for a little bit.
Right.
And I actually think that I struggled with even giving myself permission to do it for me. Like, I wouldn't take a trip for me, but I had a business trip I had to take, and that was okay.
Mm,
So I think
uh-huh.
sometimes, like, maybe if you don't need that and you can just give yourself permission to take the trip or go to the lunch or do the thing where you can
Yeah.
get a little perspective from the ins and outs and weeds of raising kids. That's really helpful. But for me, I was like, oh, I can't do it for myself, but I can do it for a business trip. So
Totally.
I would go on some business trips.
Yes. And then you
And
go, and then you're like, this is magical. Like,
yes,
and then you're like, like, sold. I'm going to do this like a lot.
yeah. Well, every time I went on a trip, I got so much perspective on like not just my
Yes.
business, but also my kids. So
Totally.
like it was just really helpful to like get a little space and like a little bit of a bird's eye view where you can look at it from a different perspective. So
Yeah. I like to think of it like it's like a fly on the wall of like the Sistine Chapel, where if you like fly back, you can see the big picture. You can see the beauty in it. But sometimes when we're in it, we're like, this ain't pretty. Like, and when you even on the flight there, I would be like, oh, it's so nice to just have perspective and be like, huh, how could I be a better mom? Like, I probably need to work on this or, do this more or do this less. Like, you're right. It gives you so much perspective.
Another thing that I think has been good, and you correct me if I think that you feel this way too, but I feel like a lot of times it's kind of empty words when we tell our kids, like, you can do anything you want to do. You can, it just seems okay, mom, but like you don't do anything for yourself. So
Right.
when I'm like, hey, like I can't actually make your dinner tonight because I'm going to go do a photo shoot, or I can't do this because like, A, you need to step up and take some responsibility and like do some things for yourself.
Right.
And like, granted, if they're like super little, that's not a possibility and you need to get a
Yeah.
babysitter. But when they're a little bit older, they can step up and take some
Hmm.
responsibility.
Hmm.
But most importantly, like they're seeing me go and fulfill a dream. They're seeing
Yes.
do something that I set out to do. And I feel like that's even better than being like, hey, you can be whatever you be. It's like, hey, I'm going to go do this. And I did it. So
Yeah.
here's
Yeah.
some proof. And now you can go do what you want to do. How can I help you?
Amen. It's like you're providing that like template for when they hit your age and they're like, okay, how did my mom do that? Oh, yeah, she had this hobby, she had this business or whatever. Even now that I'm like in midlife and I'm sort of like having an emptier nest and I'm like, I have more free time. I have like, I'm, I started this series on social media where I'm doing a midlife summer bucket list.
Love it.
Because I'm like, I want to show them that just because I'm in midlife doesn't mean I can't have any fun and I can't do like really cool things. And so I'm on this journey to like check off my summer bucket list and have a wonderful, fun summer and just showing them that like, life doesn't have to be boring even when you get older.
I love it. Didn't you go like swim with sharks or something?
Yes, we swam with leopard sharks last
Oh my
weekend.
gosh. That's
Actually, we didn't see any, but we did see an octopus. So
okay. That's awesome.
we might try again. But yeah, it's been really fun and it's like keeps my brain busy and, keeps me focusing on the future instead of like moping about the past and like, my kids are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause it's
And
hard. I'm not
okay.
going to lie. It's hard when they leave.
Oh, I'm like not there yet. And I'm like, I know it's going to come really fast, but I'm glad I'm not there yet. So I'll have
Yeah.
to call you for
You
advice.
call me.
Okay. So I made a vision board for you a little while
Yes.
ago. And I know that
Uh-huh.
since we made that vision board, a whole bunch of things have changed in your life.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering if you could share just a little bit about the experience, like what you enjoyed about having somebody else coach you through and do a vision board for you.
Yes. So first I'll show it for anyone that's watching maybe the YouTube. This is the vision board that Jessica made for me. It's even mounted, so it's nice and sturdy. And she made other versions too, like one for my car and one that was like smaller. And so it's fun that there's different versions so I can see it in different places and remember what I want my life to look like. And so that was an awesome process because I have been a huge fan of vision boards for years. I've made them for like the past 10 years. But sometimes life gets busy and sometimes it's like, ugh, you're like, I don't have the time to like sit down and, put all these visuals together. And so it was so nice to have you kind of guide me through that. Like, what do you want? Kind of, ask me those questions of like what I'm looking for. And especially if you don't know what you want, this is great to help you. And then to put it all together and make it this beautiful, visual that I can see all over the place and kind of see like, all right, this is the focus for this year. So it was awesome. I loved having you help me with it. Because who knows if I would have done it? Some years I do, and some years I say I will, and I don't.
Cool. Thank you. And then you've got a course coming out or a course out right now, correct? Can you
Yes.
tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's called Fearless Girl, and it's just all about, kind of learning how our thoughts and our emotions affect our actions and how to, kind of face some of our fears and have more courage. Because here's the thing, most of us are going throughout our day thinking a ton of like discouraging thoughts, right? And if you think about discourage, the word, it's basically dissing your courage. It's like, nah, 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 you don't need to get your nails done. Like, no. And so it's like dissing on the things that we kind of want. And if you get into a habit of doing this a lot, you've been maybe stuffing down your desires for years. And so maybe you don't know what you want. That's why Jessica comes in handy with that. Um, and so learning how much your thoughts can affect your results, because that's for me. That's how I changed my life. That's how I went from food stamps to seven figures, is I had to learn to change my thoughts. I had to start thinking more encouraging, empowering thoughts. And so I kind of teach you how to do this so that you have those encouraging thoughts that help you to take the action that's going to get you the result you want, right? And so many women have these, big dreams or desires or feel called to do something. And yet we have this like inner voice, which is very more normal and natural, by the way, to have these thoughts. But we don't, first of all, most people don't even know that they're having the thoughts. We don't even recognize that we're having them. And second of all, we believe that they're facts
Right.
when thoughts they're not facts. They are just theories. And we have them because of a thing called negativity bias, because our brain is trying to keep us safe. And so, in this course, I teach you how to, really like change your thoughts so that you can change your life.
Cool.
Yeah,
Awesome. Well, I will link to that in the show notes. Make sure we do that.
I would love that.
Okay. In closing up, anything else that you wanted to share?
Yeah, you said another thing, like another thought I had for moms,
Yeah.
young moms. Another tip is that you're doing better than you think. Okay? Like, we are our own worst critics. And I used to always have this negative thought that was like, I'm a bad mom. And
Mm,
like that thought then created this emotion of frustration and discouragement, which then created this action of like not, of kind of like hiding from my kids. Kind of, I sometimes would use my business as a hiding place.
mm,
And so then my kids would act out because they wanted my attention. So it was actually, this is how we self sabotage, right? Some of our thoughts give us the opposite result of what we want. And so I had to learn to change that thought. And one thought that helped me was the thought that I am the best mom for my kids. I'm not the best mom. Like, I'm the world's okayest mom, but I am the best mom for my kids. If you were to line up my kids, and I think this applies to all moms, if you were to line up your kids and then have a whole row of moms for them to pick from, they would choose you because they're yours and because they love you. And so that thought really helped me to kind of get out of, it was a way to flip the thought and then show up as a more encouraged mom. And that changed everything in my parenting too.
yeah.
And then, you know, I felt like I showed up in a better way, and my relationship with my kids, changed because my relationship with myself changed, because I liked being with myself. And when you like being with yourself and you like who you are and you feel you are worthy, your kids are like, yeah, I want to hang out with you too. You're a good time. And so, like I said, they became my best friends, and I found joy in parenting, whereas I didn't. before because of that negative thought. That's like, I'm a bad mom. Like nobody wants to be in a job that they're bad at, right? And
Right.
so I just want to encourage moms to encourage themselves and be their own best cheerleader.
And that's a totally amazing goal. That's a whole totally amazing dream.
Yeah.
If that's your dream and that's your goal is that you just want to feel like an empowered mom, you want to feel like we can totally work with that, right? Like I'm like, let's make a vision board about that because you can
Yeah.
do an entire vision board just on being the type of parent that you want to be and showing up how you want to show up for
Mm-hmm.
yourself and for your kids. We've talked a little bit about business too. Like if you want to start a business, awesome. I love having a business. I love helping other people with businesses and like but there is a lot of thought work to do with that and like it's a little bit of a balancing act, right?
It's a huge roller coaster. If you want to grow as a person, go ahead and start a business because it's going to make you see things in yourself that you maybe didn't see and like face some things that you didn't, you know,
What's one
that
thing you
you
feel like you really learned from
yeah.
this
And
as a mom?
I'm actually reading this book called Be Your Future Self Now.
Mm,
It's by Benjamin Hardy. It's so good. And it's a like you can listen to it on audiobook in like 3 hours. And kind of goes with the vision boards of really first of all knowing what your future self looks like. You got to know what that looks like. So having a vision board can help you. And then thinking like what would for example today I almost didn't do my workout. But I'm like, I want to be a healthy grandma that can like still go surfing with my grandkids. Like, and that requires muscle. Like the ocean will beat you up if you don't have muscle. It will toss you to and fro if there's no muscle. And so I was like, my future self wants to like surf and boogie board with my grandkids. So that means I need to show up as her today and lift weights. And so I did, knowing what my future self looked like.
yeah, and like getting clear on that, like it takes some time and direction and like I don't know. I feel like when I've done guided meditations, that's when it's been super easy for me to see that future self.
Mhm.
I've done some like amazing guided meditations with a couple of different coaches, and every time I'm like, "Whoa, that was so much easier when I'm being guided by somebody else." Like,
True.
and it's just, I can get in that zone where I'm like, "Oh, what do I really want?" And you can really dig deep and find it. So, maybe I'll do a podcast where we like do a little guided meditation and
Ooh, you should, because
okay.
I don't meditate unless I'm guided, because my brain will just be like, hello. Yep. Yeah, I love that.
Anything else that you wanted to good.
Uh, oh, I don't know. Of course, like there's so many things, but they're all out of my brain right now.
Um, let's see. Empowering women. That was the other thought I had. Was like, I don't know. I just want moms to feel like they have the permission to go and do the things they want to do. And I feel like kids are pretty high maintenance these days. Like I
So true.
remember like riding my bike across town to babysit kids that I should not have been babysitting. Like I was not trained in like we had some special needs kids and like I did not know how I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And like I rode my bike across town, babysit these kids that I don't really know what I'm doing. And like everyone was fine with it. And now I'm like, my daughter asked, she was in, I think, sixth grade, and she was in a play, and they had like an hour break. And she was like, can I go across the street to go to this restaurant with my friends for that hour that we don't before our play practice starts? And I
Yeah.
was, I don't know. Can you? Like, really like, are you capable of pushing a button and walking across the street? Like, do you know how to use your debit card or like, do you know how to tip? Like, I was really stressed about this. And I was like, Jess, like, chill. You
She's
drove
fine.
your bike down and babysat kids when you were younger than she is. And anyway, it was just like
So
chill.
true.
But now I feel like I'm so like, I don't know, a lot of more helicopter moms and like just like, oh, I can't do anything but be a mom. And like that's probably the one thought I was like, I would love to challenge is, no,
Mm,
you can totally be a mom and run a business. You can totally be a mom and write a book. You can totally be a mom and do all these other things that you want to do. Maybe not all at the same time,
yeah.
but like let's pick at least one thing that we're working on and do that. And I definitely feel like when you're again filling your own cup or doing something that lights you up, like I show up differently for them when I feel like I've done something for me. So
Yeah.
more
Well, and in
ready.
that book, Benjamin Hardy talks about Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning.
Mhm.
And he talked about having a purpose, how like people, because this Viktor Frankl, he was in the Holocaust, he was put into a concentration camp. And he had written a book right before he was put into a concentration camp. And so he actually had the book hidden in his clothes with him. And they found it and they burned it. And it was like one of his most prized possessions, which I get because I've written a book and that would make me so devastated. But his purpose was to rewrite it. So he had that purpose. He had a goal to work towards, and he had like a vision for his future. And so that helped him to be able to get through the hard days of this concentration camp. And he said he saw some people who they didn't have that future focus and they started losing hope. And many of them would end up dying because they didn't have a future to look forward to. They didn't have a purpose they were working towards. And so I think it's so important as a mom not to lose yourself, to have something that you're working towards, even if it's, you know, making a quilt for next 4th of July. I was just talking to a mom who was like, "Oh, I really want to make this quilt that we can all sit on the 4th of July." And I
Oh,
was like, "I
cool.
love that. That's so fun." So even if it's something simple like that, or I want to learn to make sourdough bread or whatever it is, like never stop learning. I think our kids are such good examples because they know how to play. They are, you know, and
Creating.
we kind of forget they don't stop dreaming. And yet we sometimes as we get older, we dream about what we're going to, what I'm going to be when I grow up. Like this is the career I want to have when I grow up. And then we grow up and we become it, and then we kinda stop dreaming, or maybe we didn't become it. And, we kinda, like, stopped at that adult level, and it's like, "No, no, 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 you have a whole life that can be so full of magic if you have something to look forward to, if you have a vision for your future, if you have a vision board, if you have a purpose to cling to, it can get you through those really hard days."
And just admitting here, there are some really hard days, right?
For sure.
Oh,
For
kids can
sure.
wreck you, like in all of the good ways and the bad ways. Like when they
Yeah.
are so devastated that
It's
they lost
brutal,
the
man.
football game or like the dance team. Oh my gosh. So it's like there are hard days.
So
Um,
for real.
so quick question, what do you do? What's your go-to when you have like a hard day?
Well, that's a great question. Well, I do try to coach myself out of it, because usually it's just a thought. Usually I'm having a thought and I am pretty good at recognizing my thoughts, which even just learning to recognize your thoughts is called metacognition. Learning to recognize your own thoughts is going to help you pull out of it and become more aware. And so learning to recognize, oh, well, this is just a thought I'm having. It's not necessarily true. It's not always true. And then, so I kind of try to self-coach myself. If I can't, then I will try to talk to someone else. I'll find a coach
Right.
or a friend that's a good, support and try to get coached through it.
And
And
coaches
if
are
I,
great at helping you see your blind spots. Because sometimes you'll coach yourself and you're like, wait a minute, I'm missing something. And like
yeah, and you like get
reaching out.
stuck in that
Yeah.
roundabout. I
And
call
so
it a
like
roundabout.
reaching out to a coach, they're like, did you think about this or like this angle? And you're like, no, I didn't
Yeah.
think about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's like the power of coaching because we all have negative thoughts because our brains are just trying to keep us safe. So we have, so many negative thoughts every day. And the more we can learn to recognize them and then self-coach or get coached on them, the more we can work through them and not have them like have power over us that affects our emotions, which then affects our actions, which then affects our results. So I'll kind of like do that. And then if I'm just kind of stuck in that, I will watch a funny show.
What's that?
Because sometimes it's like you get stuck in this like roundabout of thoughts, and sometimes you just need to get out of the roundabout and just like take a break and like put something different in your brain.
Tell
So,
you what I thought you were going to say.
what did you think I was going to
I
say?
thought you were going to say, go to McDonald's and get a Diet Coke.
I mean, that too. I do that every day anyways. So, because it
I
just brings
still
me joy.
remember you did. I can't remember. It was on social media where you were talking about the Diet Coke with the ice cream cone and you
Oh,
spilled
yeah.
it all over your Tesla. I
Yep.
was like, oh, I love that you still put that on because some people would be like, oh, I have to be perfect. And so I'm not
Right.
going to put that I like made a mess in my car. And
Right.
you like still put it on. And I was like, oh, legit. She is authentic. And I love that about her. And she will still post even if you made a mess or you cried because
Right.
that's life. It's messy and you can cry about it and it's okay to make mistakes. So
Yeah. Well, and here's why. Here's why I'm okay with posting it is because I know it doesn't mean anything about me. When we attach meaning to things, that's when they become powerful. When I'm like, oh, I'm such a messy like, how could I make this mistake of putting an ice cream and Diet Coke and why wouldn't I know that it's gonna foam over, right? I didn't attach any meaning to it. I didn't make it mean something about me. I didn't go to shame,
yeah.
right? Because shame, what most of us do is we go to shame or blame. We either blame someone else or we shame ourselves and make it mean something about our character and who we are,
It was a
right?
Diet Coke filler person's fault.
Right, right. We
Yeah.
would be like, either be like, that person doesn't know what they're doing, or we would be like, I'm a horrible human being. Like, I should know better. And that's the power of coaching is you can learn like, we don't have to, is to stop blaming others and take accountability for our own actions. And then also know that it doesn't necessarily mean anything about you. And the more you do it, the more you can encourage yourself and be brave and post silly videos of yourself making a fool of yourself.
Well, I've been on a silly video with you and it was really fun. So
That's one of my favorite videos. Everyone needs to go find the video of Jessica and I dancing like crazy people.
we also have one with bananas. Go find that one too.
Yeah. We need to bring those back. When you launch this podcast, we'll bring them back.
Bringing them back. Go bananas.
Bring back the masterpieces.
Well, Kelly, thank you so much for being on today. It was so fun having you. And I look
Thanks for
forward
having me.
to all the stuff going on in your future. And I'm going to go get the Fearless Girl course and see what that's
Okay. All right. Thanks for having me.
All right, Kelly, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Dream to Den. If you enjoyed today's episode, it would mean so much if you would leave a rating and review. It helps more moms like you find the show. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast player. I'll see you in next week's episode. I'm always cheering for you. See you next week.